Used to calculate my calories through different apps and then search, okay, what can I eat, what can I not eat. I built this entire app in 15 minutes.
That's Siddhant Goswami, a 2019 CS graduate who not only built three successful startups but scaled each of them to $10 million. How does he do it?
You have to find your curiosity and you have to double down there.
In this video, you will learn how to talk to GPT to build a full coding project for you.
Even though like GPT is getting smarter, but the way people are using it is wrong.
How to come up with the perfect startup idea.
They feel like, okay, if idea is too simple, won't be like a good idea.
A live demonstration of how Siddhant breaks down his projects.
Do you have any idea in mind, or basically like an app idea? I can actually do this right now.
Plus, harsh take, you actually don't want to listen.
Now the next set of wave who basically wants to build product in AI space, there are two things which are very popular, which are very trending right now. One is
I'm Sanskar, and you're watching the Sanskar Show. Hey Siddhant, how are you?
Hi Sanskar, great.
Siddhant, firstly, can you please tell the audience about yourself, who you are, what you do?
Sure. So I'm right now teaching at 100x. I am one of the instructor. So I teach about generative AI, AI accelerated full stack. And before this, I was working with a company called Scenes. So I was one of the co-founder, and we started this company 2 years back as a community platform. We started as the voice community, which got like 100,000 users within the launch of first month, and that's how we got that initial traction. We used to work with, like you say, India's largest creator Ankur Warikoo was one of our client. Finally on March this year, we got an acquisition offer from Graphy.
So, did you build scenes straight out of college, or
No, no, no.
what
So
was that
I'll
like?
tell you, like straight out of college. So I came to Bangalore in 2019. That is where I started my internship with Geeky Ants. There's a services company.
Okay,
Uh,
right.
I realized like 6 months. I started like learning React Native. So these guys were very heavy on open source, and that's how I
Right.
found about them.
So, as a college student, what were you like? Like, what was your focus on? Because you mentioned a key, you were a 0 to 1 guy.
Yeah.
So, how did you figure that out?
You cannot actually like determine the focus of, or for you building something. It has to come from itself, like your inner self, right? What I like basically tell people, and these have questions, is like you have to find your curiosity, like where your curiosity lies, and you have to double down there instead of you catching up all the new trends, which a lot of people are now doing it. And that's kind of a wrong way, because see, today maybe AI is like a hype right now, or that is trending, or tomorrow like a blockchain will be a hype, right? If you try to catch these trends, you will lose your curiosity. You will lose your own personality.
Talking about new trends, why do you think everyone's talking about AI right now?
I think pretty obvious. First of all, because of these transformer model. So if you do not know, so transformers actually started uh, this breakthrough of what we have right now. If I have to like explain them, it's basically, you can say, a architecture of a neural network. And if you have to explain, the neural network is basically, you can think of how neuron works in your brain, right? So scientists, mostly computer scientists, have figured out this way. This was like a very old concept, like in artificial intelligence and neural networks, that people were trying to mimic how human brain works, and then they were just like trying to implement the same algorithm or same steps for computers. And this is basically the start of neural network. There were like few different ways people used to do it, and then there came a breakthrough technology, which was, there's a paper called attention is all you need. That paper like showed this new architecture of basically building your neural networks, and that led to this development of these large language model. Along with that, we also before we didn't had this much compute power. Like our computers are getting better and better. The data, now you can say, like the internet is populated with so much of UGC and all the kind of data you have. So it's like already I think kind of like consolidating our entire human knowledge.
There's a lot of products being built on top of GPT.
Right.
So, is that the only opportunity when it comes to building a product?
No, I'll tell you, like, so this is how I started it. And I'll tell you like one experience. We also built like couple of products on top of GPT. Like 1 year ago, GPT launched, and we were trying to think how can we actually use this technology and make it more accessible to people. And one idea clicked to Varun, and this was like Varun's idea, where he, so Varun is basically my co-founder and CEO of the previous company. Uh, So yeah, he said, okay, let's try to put this GPT into WhatsApp. Like if we can do that, because WhatsApp is very accessible, you can tell them, okay, this is a bot on WhatsApp, on to which you can ask any kind of question you like. That is like very straightforward explanation for them. So that is basically how we started, and we built this GPT wrapper called Guardian Box. That is also one concept which I feel a lot of people underestimate, or they don't realize the power of products, right? And these products can be like very simple, like say putting GPT in a WhatsApp is like very simple idea. Everybody will say, okay, this is like, so any college student can also build, right? But the thing is, if you build that at a time when ChatGPT just announced, that is basically the timing you have to make sure, like and we also did that. We built this entire thing over a weekend. One thing I think, even college students, a lot of people, maybe your audience, they feel like, okay, if idea is too simple, like that won't be like a good idea, right? But that's not like that. If the idea actually solves the problem, the user's pain point, or like helps somebody to get what they want at scale, that is basically where you can actually get this breakthrough. And we were basically like, we had this very different experience where we were sitting, we were doing nothing, and this product is basically making money for us.
What are the opportunities in AI? Like, let's say a 20-year-old college student today listens about AI and wants to get on this trend. So, how should they approach things?
Okay, so I'll tell you, like right now versus like when we started, there a lot of things has changed, right? So yeah, I think the reason why I gave this idea is, or basically the topic which we discuss is that these are the things how it started, but now everybody has made those kind of GPT wrappers, like whatever you can think of, like AI in Figma, AI in Notion, AI in basically every company is now basically integrating some kind of AI layer on top of it. There is not much room, to be honest, to be basically be like more successful in building any kind of wrapper. Now the next set of wave, which I feel anybody who is like watching this, or who basically wants to build product in AI space, I feel there are two things which are very popular, which are very trending right now, or which are getting traction. One is agents. Like GPT agents are very new. So since the dev day announcement happened, so GPT launched this assistant API, which was basically, you can say, a more high level agent API. And it also launched this GPT marketplace where you can create your own GPTs, which is basically you can tell a GPT that, okay, behave like this. You have this information, so use this information to answer questions, and then you have a personality. And you, by giving this personality to the GPT, you can distribute it. And I'll tell you like one simple example. And I made a video, very good video. I think you should maybe like maybe your students can watch that. It's about like how you can get started with agents, right? And I use something called LangChain, which is a JS framework, mostly for orchestration, to connect these different APIs, different LLMs, right? So what this agent does is basically, you can tell it to do research, you can tell it to post content, you can tell it to create content, and then you can also combine all these different tasks. For example, now it can research. Example, you are a Twitter, basically a Twitter influencer, right? And you create content on Twitter, which is basically written content, or maybe on any platform. Maybe say you run a blog of yourself, right? So you do a lot of research, and writing a blog is actually like a, you can say, a very research intensive task. You need to like look through different topics, and then realize, okay, these are the topics which I can use, and then you have to like combine everything. So what we basically did with this part is, we first built the research part where it can go on internet, find the top articles based on your niche or based on the category on which you're writing about, and then it can like combine everything. It can also access the real time data. So we basically asked this question about like, what was the score of the match on that day, like there was a South Africa versus India match. So it actually went and checked the live score of the match and gave us the details. So it has access to the live data. It has access to the like internet search. So it can do research, combine them, and then it can take action. That is where it is very different from your normal chat GPT. Because when you talk to a GPT, you cannot take an action. For example, it cannot like send a message, or it cannot basically post something on my behalf, but these agents can. So once like they have figured out these are the content, these are the research material which I have built, you can actually set triggers which can allow them to post things on your social media. It could be your Twitter, LinkedIn. So I'd made a example where we posted something on LinkedIn. So yeah, So that is where I feel like the most amount of, you can say, traction I'm looking at. I'm also interested about this space. It's very early right now, but if you catch this right now and you build something good on top of it, I think this will be there will be a very big opportunity.
Also, what I feel is that most of students think of ChatGPT as an alternative to Google. So they're not realizing the full power and what else can be done. So I recently saw a video of yours on YouTube wherein you made a college project
Right.
solely on ChatGPT.
Right.
So can you share a bit more about that?
Sure. So I'll tell you, like, that is actually quite an old video. We basically that is when I basically started, like, preparing content for this AI accelerated cohort, and I was like, can I actually make something useful out of GPT? Because before, like, actually announcing a cohort in the AI acceleration, I need to be sure that I can actually provide some value. I can accelerate my development, right? So this was like an experiment back then. So first, actually, before that, I did a first video that was about building a snake game. So that video in itself took me, to be honest, 10 iterations to talk to GPT just to get the right output, and this was around March. It is actually very difficult. Yeah, people say these, like, prompt engineering is easy, but problem is, like, you can get like one line output. Say for example, if you want to write a tweet about, say, one topic, that is a 250 character thing, right? It can do it very well. But when it comes to writing an entire program which requires you basically computational thinking, breaking down the problem into smaller set, and then building a solution and combining everything up, that is where the GPT was lacking that time. And I was realized ki this is a more of an iterative approach, not like a prompt. I can't give you a prompt to say, Sanskar, like, okay, this is a prompt, you write, copy paste this, and you'll get the game, or you'll get the entire program. You have to have a conversation. So you have to think GPT as a basically engineer, right, who is basically working under you, and you have to direct him, okay, now do this, this is wrong, this is, you should not do this part like that. And then basically once you are ready with the output, or once you, like, you can say okay with the response, then you basically tell them to combine everything and test it out. So that is basically how I started, and where I realized the power of prompting, right? We built this snake game within, I think, 4 to 5 prompts, and I, like, compiled a list of prompts. Yeah, compiled a list of these prompts which I basically used. And then when I went back to my, you can say, computer science fundamentals, like, my fundamentals are actually same there. Like, there was a problem statement, like, I need to build a snake game, and then there is, like, different part of it, like, how do you want to build a UI, which technologies you want to use. I wanted to use HTML, CSS, JavaScript to display it on the web. And then, like, what are the functionalities of a game. So there is a one, like, a snake which will grow longer and longer whenever it eats food, right? So what's the logic we can write there? First we have to define the problem clearly, right? There's a famous Kidlin's law. If you define the problem clearly, half of it is solved now, right? So what that is what we did. We basically defined each and every step of this game, and that is where we, like, realize, okay, it is like me breaking down as a engineer a problem statement, and then, like, solving these things. Now just for the solving part, I can use GPT. So my engineering principles and fundamentals will remain same even after AI has gotten so much better, but I can take help in the execution. So that is where the concept of AI accelerated development came into my mind, and that is how we started things. And the next video I did was basically a full-fledged software. It's like a meal planner we built, and that was like my, like, you can say, bigger, like, complex project, where it is basically a simple app which takes the input. Okay, what's your height, weight, your preference. It calculates your daily calorie intake, and then gives you an entire meal plan based on your activity level and your calorie needs. So that was basically a program which I wanted to build, to be honest, like, from a very long time, because I am into fitness. Yeah, I used to calculate my calories through different apps, and then search, okay, what can I eat, what can I not eat. So I thought, okay, maybe, like, can I build something right now, and just give you this estimate. I built this entire app in 15 minutes. It took me less than 15 minutes. And I basically, again, like, did the same exercise. First I understand, okay, what are the inputs I need to take from the user. These are the things. And then how I'm going to compute the output. I need BMI. I need, there are, like, formulas to calculate your daily calorie intake, these formulas. And then basically I need an API from where I can access these food databases. So there are, like, multiple food databases out there on internet. And I can basically, and they give you all these nutritional value, which is basically their protein, carbs, and total calories. Now this was basically like the engineering, you can say, problem, right? Like you have these data sources, then you have these inputs. So how do you take the input from user and like solve that or do computation, and then basically like use the database and then give the response back. So like once we have this architecture ready, once you have this plan ready, then you can break down this into like simple prompts and give it to GPT, and GPT will generate the code exactly how you want it. And that's basically like what I learned from that entire process, that even though like GPT is getting smarter, but the way people are using it is wrong. Like they're asking it to build everything by its own. It cannot like take all those decisions because it's still in very early stage right now.
Actually, this bit also springs to mind that students are also concerned that AI can take away jobs. As you mentioned, that data
Yeah,
analysis is a job that can go irrelevant.
right.
So, is that actually serious to be concerned about for students, that some jobs might actually go irrelevant in
Sure,
the future?
sure. So I'll tell you, like there's like two ways to look at it. There's one short-term answer and there's one long-term answer, right? Short-term answer, no, right? Like you won't see like any decline. Like you'll see a decline. Okay, actually, like there's one number which I can share right now. The number of hiring, these companies, the Infosys, Tata, like these MNCs in India, they used to hire in bulk a lot of freshers and students. That has gone down to up to 70% with the recent report which we have seen, which means like there are a lot of people right now. And actually, I'll just tell you one more data point. I spoke to my one of my friend. He just graduated from IIM Ahmedabad, and he said the right now internship placement, you can say, percentage right now, IIM Ahmedabad is like one of the leading institute, is like less than 30%. Like there's in 30% people are getting internship from IIM right now. So it's not like whether jobs are going away or like there is like a decline. The thing is, we are right now living in this era where we already have the recession. So as you know, like from the post COVID era, we had that ZERP movement, and after that, like zero interest period, and then we like had this recession coming in. AI kind of accelerated that for tech industry, because there is literally a lot of roles which can be either automated or which can basically, you can say, accelerated without you needing people for that. You can just now need, say, like one or two guys, right? So that is where the like job industry is like suffering right now. And I'll tell you like what my take on this and how you should think about this is, see, this happens whenever technological revolution happens, right? Like if you think about like very early stage of bullock cart versus cars, right? Like people who used to run bullock cart, they was like, oh, I my job's gonna go away, and they used to like, oh, what can I do? The only thing you can do there is to learn the new technology and adapt, right? And those are the people who survived. Like people who were not ready to adapt, they say, okay, I will not, I'll basically against driving cars. And there were like people who actually did that. There was a movement like who were not adapting the technology. But what happened to those people? You and me, we both know, right? So the only you can say folks will be survive, I think this way, is people who can adapt to the new technology, learn, and then basically build on top of it, and yeah, grow from there.
What AI products do you use?
Um, I use GPT. I use Midjourney. I use Dali. To be honest, I use a lot of things because I am into this space. But useful thing which I can tell you, like a student or an engineer basically who can use. I feel GPT, first of all, like if you haven't got the GPT subscription, I think you should definitely get it. Uh,
Okay.
Especially the data analysis tool, as I told you, right? Like I run data analysis a lot, even in my cohort, right? So because we have like these engagement metrics, like I post like lessons
Right.
because I'm running like a paid cohort. So I'm also creating content, but like only for my like cohort audience, right? So I
Right.
basically need to track these numbers, like whether the lecture which I have prepared today, how many people are watching it, and what are the comments of these students, and like are they basically liking it, what's the retention. Like if they say they like the lecture but they didn't see the lecture completely, which means like there is some gap, right? So and then how are they performing in the assignments. For example, a student have watched like 5 lectures about the topic, but he or she still performs like very poor in the assignment, which means like either my content was not good or either the way I'm explaining is not good. So there's a lot of like data which I am gathering right now, and this data analysis tool is kind of helping me there a lot. And it's not only in this, even in businesses, like we run like different businesses. So apart from 100x engineers, also work with AOS, where we basically help businesses to integrate AI into their workflows. So there, very common problem we are solving for a lot of businesses is they have these like ton of data, and they don't know what to do with that. Like they have maybe like coming from marketing, different marketing data, different like sales data, and it's like they always need like one person to sit on top of it, analyze it. Now GPT can basically do that very well with you.
Also, Siddhant, is there some sort of certain programming knowledge level that a student should have if they want to explore this field of AI and explore different products?
I'll tell you, like, this is my next thesis, which I'm testing in the upcoming cohort. First cohort we did with only people who has some experience with programming. It's like they can write some basic programs, maybe Hello World programs or like some basic web app programs, so that it was easier for us to focus on the acceleration part and basically like making them a full stack developer, right? Because otherwise, like
Hmm.
the
Right.
amount of information you need to actually build an app is like too much if you coming from like a you can say non-coding background, right? And it's like hard for you to catch up in like just in a few months. But I'll tell you, like, what is now I'm looking at it, a lot of people without any coding experience is actually doing better. The reason why I feel they are doing better
Okay.
is because they are, first of all, more curious, and they are not stick to, they don't have this developer ego. I feel like this is like again
Makes
like a
sense.
very you can say like misunderstood thing in developer ecosystem, that if you can build something, you should build something, right? A lot of developers feel that,
Right.
okay, I can build this application, so I should write code for it. That is the developer ego, right? And why would I use some no code tool? Why would I use some software to just automate when I can actually write code? Even I used to do that. Like I used to write HTML CSS from scratch, where these days, like even like in our company, we have a webflow developer, framework developer who does it with the no code tool, right? So yeah, I used to like see those tools like, okay, I can do it. Why should I pay for these no code tools? But I feel like because people who do not have this coding experience, they are more likely to try and experiment with these different tools. And once they try these different tools, then they understand better technology, because they are not spending day in day out fixing those one few lines of bugs. Because I'll tell you, like, it feels easy, like I can build this app like in a day. But the moment you try writing the code, then you will understand there are like so much things going under the hood, and then
Right.
you ended up spending like a week or 2 week, which could have done in a one day if you would have used a tool, right? So that is where I feel like people who do not have a coding experience, or do not, maybe they have coding experience but they do not have the developer ego, where they feel like, okay, I have to write each and every line of code for whatever I'm going to build. Those people are
Right.
actually doing better.
Finally, would you also recommend any books or videos for students?
Yeah, to be honest, this space is so very rapidly changing. So even if I tell you a book today, it will be irrelevant say in next like 6 to 7 months, right? Because a lot of things which I have learned in like last 8 7 months are now not like very much relevant. But I'll tell you, like, there are few things as a developer, if you're somebody who wants to like get updated, what kind of like can say technology or the developer you can say repositories are coming up. GitHub trending page is the best place to that, right? So there is like a lot of new open source code in the AI community which is being like pushed each and every day. And there's a GitHub trending page, you can that is basically our routine, like in the company right now, both in 100x and in the AOS labs where we do is basically, you can say, our daily routine. In the morning we go up to GitHub trending page, and we check out all the repos which are doing good, and then we see like what can we learn from these repo, can we build a technology on top of it, can we like contribute to them, or can we
Right.
just like use them,
Right.
right? So
Okay.
that is basically like one thing which you do. So that is like one way to start as a developer. If you are not a developer, then I gave you future tools, and there is an AI for that.
Right.
Those kind of two tools you can explore. Then, like, if you are somebody who wants to like incline toward more machine learning side, so there are like there's a YouTube channel called 2 Minute Paper. So 2 Minute Paper is basically summarizes all the new machine learning research paper coming into the space in just 2 minutes. I
Interesting.
get like updated from that, because I don't have time to read all the research papers, but I do want to know what research
Right.
is coming each and every day. so I don't miss out anything new. So I subscribe to that. So yeah, there are like I think other tools also which I can maybe send you a list, so you can like post maybe in the description.
Sure.
So yeah, but yeah, these are like on top of my head right now. Hugging Face is also like one thing you can definitely try. Hugging Face is
Right.
like built like a this, I think, one of the most popular community right now in data science and ML repos. So you will find like a lot of
Right.
good projects out there. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Siddhant, for taking out the time, joining me and my audience, sharing your insights. I loved it. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Okay. Same here. Same.